In this update on the Tsenken Drilling, the first video focused on why we think this is an IOCG, an iron oxide copper gold system, and why it's important to focus on those systems. The second one talked about the minerals that we've seen in the 5 holes that we've drilled and how we're able to interpret those to give us a vector towards the center of the system. And we talked about how hole 5 in the northeast is the one that's closest to the core of the system. Now, what about the third dimension, thinking in a vertical sense? This lava that we've talked about, that is completely replaced with the iron minerals, and it's got these other feldspars in it. This rock is impermeable. And the fact that it's altered, that this iron-rich fluid has been able to get into this rock is quite remarkable. I mean, picture a lava and imagine trying to force water into that, hot water into that. It's very, very difficult. Whereas if we look at the material that's immediately beneath the lava, so this lava, the direction of drilling is this way, so we're going down in this sense. So the bottom of the lava is here, and then we go into the sandstone underneath. The sandstone is altered in exactly the same way. It's got the hematite and magnetite flooding more intense in these black areas, but in fact the whole rock is flooded with hematite and magnetite and silica as well. It's hard, demonstrating that silica. But the key thing is that this rock, the sandstone, is far more permeable than this volcanic rock that overlies it. So in space, these sit like this. And imagine a hot fluid coming in here, coming up faults. The faults are its channel way for those hot fluids that are bearing the copper and the gold to come into the system. And they hit this barrier. And yes, they're altering it. But it's far easier for those fluids to spread out, to mushroom out beneath this rock than it is to get into this rock. So although this is a beautiful exploration guide because it's easier to see the minerals in here than it is in the sandstone, quite honestly, in this area, in Tsenken, if there's a deposit here, an IOCG deposit, it's going to be in the permeable rock. It's not going to be in this more conspicuous lava. The lava is forming a barrier, an impermeable barrier that's more or less flat-lying over the sediments. And these things, the sediments, are going to absorb that fluid. So if there is copper and gold mineralization, it's going to be in this unremarkable rock rather than this more conspicuous stuff. But if the sandstone beneath the impermeable lava is our main target, despite the fact that it doesn't look particularly interesting, are we beginning to see evidence of that? And in fact, we are. This is actually from hole 5. So hole 4 was drilled towards the west in this direction, and hole 5 drilled towards the east from the same platform. And this sandstone is in fact the same as this sandstone in hole 4. This one is from hole 5. But the really interesting thing about it, and what is so exciting about this hole, is that, remember, the black in the volcanic rock was secondary biotite. And this black that you can see is flooding into the sandstone. So here it's flooding in and then losing a bit of oomph and dying out. That is secondary biotite that's growing from hot fluids into the sandstone. And guess what? In the secondary biotite, we've got very fine chalcopyrite, one of the key copper sulfide minerals. So this piece of core demonstrates that the model of the lava being the impermeable barrier and having some copper mineralization in it, But the real opportunity to have a sizable deposit is in the permeable unit that underlies the lava. And this is just beautiful to see the secondary biotite flooding into the ordinary permeable sandstone. And with the secondary biotite, as we saw in the lava, the copper mineralization coming in with this black mineral. So this little bit of core indicates to us that we're on the right track, that focusing on the area under the lava is the key thing to do in a vertical sense. And then on the horizontal sense, we know that going towards the northeast, where hole 5 is, and hole 6 is being drilled even further northeast of hole 5, we should be getting towards the heart of the system, where we should see more intense copper mineralization, lots more copper sulfides, and probably gold along with that copper. So that's where we stand at the moment.